And welcome back to the Financially Simple Experience. So friends, I had this interesting question come at me the other day that I wanted to record a podcast on because it really made me pause and think. Not like a question like, is a hot dog a sandwich or not? That's one that me and my kids like to banter back and forth on. But this question really gave me pause. The question is trying to exceed expectations dangerous to our business? That's an interesting phraseology there on that question. The way that it's worded is trying to exceed expectations. So that means expectations are given, dangerous to our business. You see, expectations are an important part. They're an important part. They're a vital part of our business. I think we would all agree on that. And the CEO's job is to set the expectation properly. They're there to give clear direction on what's going to happen. Perhaps the sales department is outlining the product or service that the potential client needs. But can expectations be harmful to our business? Working to exceed expectations isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, if you're setting the expectations too high or you're consistently missing the mark, underperforming, it can be disastrous. So today I want to unpack this question and talk about expectations and are they dangerous for our business? Let's first understand that expectations are all around us and they're important. I can remember growing up, my mom had this expectation that she wanted us up, dressed, ready to go at 6 a.m. at the road to run 2 miles every day. And trust me, as a teenager growing up in a homeschool family, I try to think of every reason underneath the sun not to be out there at 6 a.m. I laugh now because here I am years later, I wake up at 5 a.m. to go work out much harder than I ever did back then. So we all realize that expectations are all around us. But as a business owner, you have to set crystal clear expectations for your team. If they don't understand what's expected of them, then they can't perform at the level that you desire or they desire. Jeff Birch explains the importance of an expectation in a really interesting story. The way he describes it is this. He arrived on a job one day and he sees 3 men, all of which he had hired, all of which have been with him for years, who were laying bricks. And he asked the first man, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm laying bricks. I'm a bricklayer." And the second man, he said, "Hey, what are you doing there?" He said, "Honestly, man, I'm just here for a paycheck." He looked at the third, the newest employee, and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm building a place where the sick can be cured, the ill can be made well so they may return to their family and friends." And Jeff was moved, but he had to let this guy go eventually. Why? Because they were building a gas station, not a hospital. Now that's humorous, right? It's a little bit of levity there, but the point is still the same. It shows that if you're not crystal clear as the executive on letting the people know what is expected of them, they can't perform to the highest level they need. Had the young man been allowed to continue without facing the plans that are needed, it could have delayed completion. It could have cost thousands of dollars in cost overrun. Labor could have increased. A myriad of things could have happened in that silly, simple little example. But it does highlight the importance of expectations. But what about client expectations? You know, it's often necessary for us to set an expectation for our good or service. In fact, we often communicate those through marketing efforts. We spend thousands of dollars per year in our business, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to explain what we're doing. Think about a vehicle ad. Whatever your most recent was, I saw a Dodge truck, the TRX truck. They were highlighting the boost feature, and this truck was revved up, and I guess they let the foot off the brake, and literally the front tires popped off the ground like 6 feet. That is an effective ad for someone like me who likes trucks, right? Most of the red-blooded American men out there is like, "Hey, yeah, I'll give me a truck that has lots of horsepower. Let's go, giddy up." But think about it. The typical ad for vehicles are going to show a lot of functionality of driving down the road and whatever. Maybe it's the TRX truck who just popped the tires off the ground, and people go out and they buy that. Now, how disappointing would you be if you just spent over $100,000 on this Dodge truck and the boost didn't work and you couldn't pop your tires off the ground? In fact, you may even try that as you're test driving the vehicle to see if it actually does what they were illustrating they were doing. If the Dodge company set the expectation for that to happen and it didn't happen, you'd be disappointed. See, expectations are met in business all the time, but they can become dangerous. they can become dangerous. Expectations become dangerous when they can't be met. When they can't be met. How many times have you said something? I promise I'm going to do something. We're going to do this by this date. And it doesn't happen. We often are guilty in business of overpromising yet under-delivering. Now, I'm not saying that it's never going to happen. Man, I'm not saying that. We're all human. We are doing the very, very best we can. I make this statement often as I'm speaking. In fact, I'll be speaking on stage next week, and I have this in my screen. I have this belief that 100% of the humans will want to get up today and have a better day than they did yesterday. I have that belief. I have this belief that we, our employees, our team members, are striving to do the very best they know how to do. That is how I believe. You may disagree with that, and that's okay. It's my opinion. Feel free to make mine yours. I'm not saying that expectations shouldn't be set. And I'm not saying that you should make bare bones promises, trying to set the expectations so low that you're always outperforming. Instead, offer an expectation that meets your team's needs or your client's needs and falls to the rim, within the rim of what you know you can deliver. Don't overpromise. Set the expectation and follow through. I remember when I was going out on my own, starting my business, my dad gave me this sage wisdom. I've shared this many times because it impacted my life so much. I can tell you the place where he told me this. We were in Washington, Georgia, walking down a fence line, a barbed wire fence that separated one property line from the other. And he said, he looked at me. I can remember exact spots, friends. I know exactly where we were standing. He looked at me and he said, "Son, you're a Goodbread." That exact tone. His eyes, brown eyes, got deep, almost hazel eyes, got deep into mine. I was about 17. And he said, "Son, you're a Goodbread. That's not a name that's easily forgotten. Therefore, you must always, always follow through on your word." Now, I don't remember the context of why he said that. Probably I said something I was going to do and didn't do, and he used it as an opportunity with his high school education to impart wisdom that forever has changed my life. I certainly believe that's the case. But nonetheless, those words have burned in my head. In other words, if you say you're going to do something, do it. Do it. Do everything you can. I also remember another saying that I've heard many times that says, it was my uncle, my dad would often say this together, say, "Son, the answer is yes or no, sir, no excuse, sir." In other words, if you say you're going to do something for somebody, the answer is yes, sir. We'll get this done. And there's never any excuses. Or you can't accomplish it. No, sir, we can't accomplish that. There's never any excuses. Man, that has served me well with 30 years in the business. 30 years of sitting in the ownership position. Now, is that saying I've been perfect? Heck no. We've all made mistakes. But striving to exceed expectations in the root of the question is not bad. However, constantly coming up with a shortfall or overpromising and under-delivering will not only destroy your business, but it will devastate your name and your reputation. So, how do we manage expectations to prevent overpromising and under-delivering? Can you create a realistic expectation? Can you do that while still striving for more? Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the best ways, if you're dealing with clients, shifting their expectation, is to turn your clients into raving fans by over-delivering. I'll give you an example. Let's just say you own a pizza shop. Now, if you do, just know I'm extremely jealous right now because I love pizza. But let's just say you own a pizza shop and someone orders a pepperoni pizza, thin crust with olives, green and black, a little bit of onions on there, maybe some green peppers. But they ordered a pepperoni pizza. So they're going to expect you to deliver a pepperoni pizza. However, they might not expect that you're going to put 3 different types of pepperoni on that pizza. Nor would they definitely not expect that you're going to throw in a free side of crazy bread on the side. See, that's just a simple example of kind of what I'd like to have, but it's a simple example of how meeting an expectation can turn a fan into a raving fan. Another way that you can avoid under-delivering is to be transparent and authentic. Years ago, I had the honor and privilege of working with a marketing agency. And if you know marketing or anything about it, it's often one of the first things that gets cut from a budget. Let's assume that you own a marketing company and you're encountering clients who want a premium package at a value price. And you know you just can't do that. It falls on you to clearly express the options available to the client at the price that they're willing to pay. So you're not entering into an engagement where you're trying to provide a maximum value for a very low price point. You're not going to be happy. The client's not going to be happy. But setting the expectations clearly in the early stage will do one of two things. It'll open the door for another opportunity where that client says, hey, I don't want what you're providing. They'll go find somebody else. But more importantly, it'll allow you to serve in the capacity that you and your team know you can serve in. The most important thing is that you're communicating exactly what you will do and when you will do it by and how you will do it. Anything beyond that is icing on the cake. And of course, we want to deliver the icing, not just the cake. So in order to set expectations clearly and be authentic, you've got to set some boundaries. It does no good to tell a client what you're going to do if you don't also make it clear what you won't do. Let me say that again. It doesn't do you any good if you tell a client what you're going to do if you don't also make it clear what you will not do. Let me say that a third time. It doesn't do you or the client any good if you tell them what you are going to do without telling them what you will not do. I'm coaching some financial advisors right now. And if you know anything about salespeople, they love to give away everything for as low a price as possible. So they can have an endorphin rush typically, and they can make a sale. And they will say, I'm going to do all these different things. And then whenever the client calls up and addresses a question for something they never sold, the answer is yes. Oh yeah, of course we're going to do that. The reality is they can't deliver. They can't deliver because they never told the client what they're not going to do. If you're going to set the expectations properly, friends, you have to be authentic. You have to be willing to say no. You have to set the expectations, and it's not a bad thing. The primary objective has to come first, which whatever your business primary objectives are. But it's okay to be crystal clear in where you're going with your team. It's okay to be crystal clear about what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do with your employees and your clients. Ultimately, you want to turn your team and your clients into raving fans. And you can do that by properly managing the expectations. So I conclude with this. Let's go back to the root question. The question was, is trying to exceed expectations dangerous to your business? No. But setting expectations improperly or missing the expectations that you're setting could be devastating for you personally and for your business. Friends, if you need help with this, trying to set the expectations for your business, reach out to us. We can help you. Until next time, y'all go out and make it a great day.